Hi, I'm John, and this is welcome to Studio 1 at Takeover. Today I'm just going to ask Craig some questions and see him put them to the test. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so in the main office, where the computers are, the 4 computers, what are you using them for?
Okay, so the main office is for you guys to do all your research and all your prep before the show. So you've got to imagine it like kind of a staircase. So the very top is doing the radio broadcast and making sure that you're doing your show and everything, yeah? So at the very bottom, before you do anything, you've got to do your prep. Because if you don't do your prep, then you're just going to be sat in the studio going, this is... So your prep is really important to make sure your show's got a bit of like pizzazz and a bit of bump to it. So those computers out there are just for research. So you can go on Spotify to research any songs that you want to put into your playlist. You can research any news, you can type up your features, type up your scripts, that sort of thing.
Okay, so we've got the preparation and everything like that. So if someone were to come and just say, you know, I just want to do my own show, and they've got all the prep sorted, what kind of, and they have no idea what they're doing, no research or anything, but they have the research, but they don't know what they're doing. What kind of thing would you go through?
Well, to be fair, you've been in that position yourself, haven't you?
Yep.
Like a year ago, yeah? So would you, a year ago, when we was outside in that office there, would you have said, in a year's time, every Tuesday afternoon I'm presenting a 3-hour live radio show?
Probably.
Okay, so there you go. When people come in, sometimes it's about confidence and about kind of building that up. Because when you walk into a studio, you see the desk around there, you go, oh my god, there's too many buttons, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And then you see the playout system, you're like, oh my god, how does that work? So it's all about building up confidence first. And it can take, for some people it can take like 3 or 4 weeks. For some people it'll take 3 or 4 months. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's all about, the first thing to do is just about building up confidence. And then once we've done that, we get into actually what goes into a radio show. So for example, with you, we started working on a feature, didn't we? Started working on doing a little bit of a feature, then you practiced next door on the practice desk, and so you got used to how to do the desk, and then you joined in with somebody else. So you joined with Nathan. Was it Nathan that you joined in with? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you joined in with Nathan doing a little bit of a segment on his show, and then by doing the schemes and getting involved in other things, you just built that confidence up and built that experience up to eventually get your own thing. So to be fair, there's actually no set pattern for any of it. It's all about just building confidence and just learning as you go. And it's all about when you as a participant feel comfortable and ready to go in the studio and ready to go live.
Alright, so you did mention something about Studio 2.
Yeah.
Believe. Just tell me what goes off in there. It's kind of, I'm assuming it's elves working.
Yeah, elves working. Yeah.
Elves working.
Elves working, yeah, especially with that Christmas jumper, you can't go wrong, can you? I mean, no, you've got to imagine it like a staircase again. So again, at the very bottom we've got the training room. So the next step, when you've done all your training, all your prep, and you've done your confidence, we've not gone live yet, so you need to get that experience, don't you? So it's all about doing what we call a pre-recorded show and building that up. So if you do go wrong, you can edit it out. So next door, as you'll have seen, we've got exactly the same mixing desk. All it is the layout's a little bit different. We've got the same playout system, same mixing desk, and all we do is we just practice using that mixing desk as live, but it's not live. So we record it, we can edit it, and it's just about getting used to what does what on the mixing desk and what's the right time to come in after talking after a song, using your intros, using your outros, using music beds. So it's all about doing everything that you do in the main studio on air, but just without the live element.
So it's just a bit of practice, right?
A bit of practice, that's all it is, it's the practice room.
Alright. Now this thing about broadcasting the chief,
Okay.
it's just a big crew. You just set everyone tasks, I believe.
Yeah.
You feel like Santa whenever you do everything.
You usually feel more like God. That's like Santa, more like God, so I get to roll over you all, but...
Yeah. So, obviously you do a bit of outside broadcasts.
Yeah.
What kind of tasks do you actually set? Just like, does someone do this and from there? Does someone do it here? What do they do?
Well, outside broadcasts are essentially, when you strip it back, all it is, it's just broadcasting, doing what you do in the studio, but outside the studio. So the first thing to do is, on location, there's not a studio ready and waiting for you, is there?
No.
So obviously you've got to learn how to set up the studio. So this actually takes me back to what I put in yesterday's blog, actually, which was about the first scheme we did, which, can you remember, it was the half-term tour in February.
Yeah.
So we came in and we did that little bit of a training day. Where my office is now, before we moved in there, we used that as a bit of like a preparation area to show you how to set some things up. So we started with all the boxes laying around the floor, didn't we? Can you remember?
Yeah.
And we identified what each bit of equipment was. So we had our XLR cables, we had our kettle leads, we had our mixing desks, USB leads, laptops, jack-to-jack leads, everything that you need to set up a studio on location we had in those boxes. And all we did, we went through step by step of how to set that up, what to do, you know. So we did a bit of health and safety as well. So you can remember the masking tape.
Yeah.
What was the masking tape for? Let's see how good your memory is.
This is going a while back.
So the masking.
Yeah.
First thing we did, masking tape on the floor. Why?
Oh, to set the space.
Yeah.
Where
Safety zone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Health and safety. And why is it important to do that?
So people don't trip over.
Exactly. So to go back to your question, yes, I do give people tasks, and the tasks vary. So everyone's used to doing all the different things. Now, if one person was to set up the outside broadcast, it would take a long time, because you've got to go all through those steps every single time, doing things little by little.
And once you finish, it takes a while to set it all back.
Exactly. So when you've got a team, say you've got 4 or 5 people, you've got 2 or 3 people setting up mic stands and setting up microphones, and other people setting out the safety zone and setting up the laptops, other people going around researching what things there are to do and getting the scripts ready and presenting the show. So the tasks I give range from setting things up to researching to presenting to producing.
Okay. So you've set up Broadcasting Achieve, am I correct?
Yeah, it's my baby. Yeah,
It's your baby.
it is.
So what kind of advantages does it give? And I mean, like, so we've just had the newcomer. He's done all this stuff. He kind of knows the mixing desk a little bit here, but I mean, what kind of elements does it like push?
Okay, so
the higher levels.
Broadcast and Achieve really is just a fancy name for training.
Okay.
But when I first started, I started as a volunteer when I was like 18 doing football commentaries. So I was just given a load of equipment and said, right, off you go. And then the rest I had to learn myself. But I guess when I came in to start doing the job that I'm doing now, all it was a case of just watching who goes in and out of the studio and making sure that they're not messing around and not hurting themselves, basically. But I thought, where's the fun in that? Where's the positive for me as a person doing a job, and where's the positive for you as a participant? So I thought, why not create something where initially it can just monitor what you do and help support you. So it's me stepping in the studio and helping you, giving you advice on how to use the mixing desk or how to use Myriad or anything like that.
Or kind of having fun at the same time.
Yeah, and just kind of keep doing what you're doing, but just adding that little bit of training in there without it feeling like a school or feeling like a lesson.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, when it came to February half term, again going back to yesterday's blog, it was kind of a case of, well, let's see if we can do something over half term rather than just doing our normal sessions. And because my background came from sports broadcasting, we couldn't do sports broadcasting because of licenses, but essentially it's an outside broadcast. So that's why the outside broadcast element came in. And you lot loved it so much, it just carried on. So Broadcast and Achieve now is not just about supporting what you do, it's also about not teaching you, because that'd be the wrong phrase. It's about giving you opportunity to learn new skills and to develop the skills you've already got.
So giving that little extra
push, extra little bit of support, and
yeah,
kind of, yeah, doing it in a structured manner.
So now I know you've been doing football commentary, but since it's Christmas, and I've been asked this many times, a band said that they want to do a live session here, but since it's Christmas, if you saw a snowman, what kind of answers would you give, depending on your interview skills that you've done before?
Repeat the question again.
Since it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
I got lost between band and snowman.
Well, forget about the band bit, because they've asked me to do a live session.
Okay.
And you've also had some in the previous.
Yeah. So where does the snowman come in?
Well, it's just Christmas. It's this is the theme.
Okay.
And I know you've done.
Are you asking how I'd interview a snowman? Because I can answer that. It's turn the aircon off. Make sure it doesn't melt.
No, I mean, if it was like a real celebrity snowman, I mean, what kind of
like Frosty?
Yeah, they're in a band. I mean, what kind of if someone were to ask, say, hey Craig, I want to interview them.
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you give?
So just generic interview tips.
Yeah.
I'd always say my first interview. I'm not going to mention names because I might get sued, but it kind of went very badly wrong because I didn't have anything prepared. So preparation is always the key. However, if you're sat there reading it off a piece of paper, reading it word for word, you're concentrating on getting across what you've written down rather than listening to their answers. So preparation means bullet points, little key points you can refer back to if you feel that the answer that they've given to the previous question was enough to satisfy the question you asked in the first place. So it's more about just being prepared, having little bits of information that you can refer back to, but also the key to doing a good interview is always to listen to what answer they give and think of a question on the spot. So for example, I interviewed a manager after a game. It was a pre-season friendly, and he mentioned in one of his answers to the question I asked about that he didn't feel like the dynamic of the dressing room was right, and that he felt that he maybe either brought in the wrong type of player or the wrong it played the wrong system or something like that. So I then pushed him to explain that further, and that led to a conversation and answer about the use of the importance of using like pre-season friendlies to watch over players. So I guess my answer is, my response would be, is always to listen to what they're saying, and if you can think of any questions where you can push them further and get the best answer out of them you can, then that's what you want, because more is more is positive. When you've got a short, sharp answer in an interview, just like, so are you enjoying your time at Takeover Radio? Yeah. And then if you were to ask another question,
just gives reasons why.
Yeah, you need to keep pushing to give as much information as you can.
Okay, so now since some of the questions or interviews that we do here mainly go into the Studio One.
Yeah.
What kind of things would you look out for specifically, like microphone levels, health and safety issues, or anything like that? I mean, on the system itself, what would you kind of look out for?
The worst thing about doing an interview is sometimes the people that are doing the interviews don't know how to behave in a radio studio. Now, that's not saying that they're bad people, but what I mean by behave in a radio studio is, do they talk all the way into the microphone like that? In which case, you're going to get a lot of distortion, which means you've got to be on it on your levels. Or are they going to be too far away from the microphone? What you'll probably see this more on TV. You know when you've got, in fact, Strictly Come Dancing's the best one for this. They always do a segment where they go to like the crowd in between dances and question the crowd about what they've seen. So sometimes it'll be friends or family. Yeah. The worst thing is when someone's sat 2 or 3 seats away, so you've got to stretch over the microphone and you've got to lean over the people. Now, one or two things can happen is that the microphone won't pick it up, or they'll grab the microphone off you. Yeah, and if they don't know how to hold a microphone, if they're throwing the microphone between the hands, you can hear it because microphones make sounds.
Yeah,
that's the point of them. So, to go back to answer your question, it would be just to be in control of the situation. If it's 3 to 1, if you're interviewing 3 people, it's very easy to become swept up in the situation and in the moment. You've got to remember where you are, and you've got to let them know where you are. So for example, if we were doing it in here, I would never interview more than 2 people in this studio, because the microphone can reposition and it can be sat between the 2 people that are being interviewed. However, if you've got 3 or 4 people sat round, is it going to pick up the person that's stood at the very back? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to pick up the person that's over there? Are they going to be the loudest person? Yeah, have they got a loud voice? In which case it might, but have they got a really small voice? Which means it might not travel. So in terms of you being in control of an interview in the studio, it's always identify who you want to ask the questions to in the first place, always check the levels before you go live, and make sure you tell them the questions before you go live. And also, the main one is, when you are going live, whether they know it or not, because it's common sense, you always need to reference the fact that don't swear.
No.
Don't swear or don't say anything offensive, because people do. It's, you do have to remind people what environment you're in.
And also don't bring food or drinks.
Correct.
Because
health and safety. What if I was sat here with a coffee right now, knocked it over by accident when I was talking to you, it went into that plug socket there, poof, whole place went up.
It'll be disastrous.
Exactly. Likewise, someone sat round there in a packet of quavers and the crumbs are going between the faders. System breaks, it blows up, you can't use it, can you?
No. So I mean, like going back to the outside broadcast, whenever we finish, we usually go back to the radio station and do a little, kind of like a preparation of what was the highlights of it. So, I mean, some people will be recording and some people will editing. I mean, could you like be like more in detail of what they actually do in terms of like?
Yeah, I mean, always after we've done an outside broadcast, the main thing is always doing post-production. So some people, if say for example we've got a group of 6, 2 people will pack the equipment away when it's got back to the station, because it doesn't just sit in boxes. It might be used for something else. It might have to go back somewhere else. So it always goes back to where it came from. So 2 people will be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other 4 will be doing post-production stuff. So that's getting the recording, because we might not have been live. We might have been just doing a PA for somewhere. So it's always about finding the best bits, editing them together as a podcast to play out on the radio later. Some people may have taken pictures. It's about uploading those to the website. Some people might be doing a video. It's about editing that video and uploading that to the website. It's all about getting every single thing we've done on record, whether we use it or not, so we can come back to it at a later date if we need to, before it's forgotten. Because what if, for example, if we do an outside broadcast on Friday and we've got everything on the Zoom recorders, we then go out on the Saturday, but if we forget to take the audio off the Zoom from the Friday before, either the Zoom recorders will become full and we won't be able to record anything, or when we come back to edit it, we won't know what file relates to what broadcast.
Right.
So it's all about making sure all the post-production's done and we're ready to go again next time. So it's about ticking it off and kind of like tying the shoelace.
Like a checklist.
Yeah, and just boxing everything off and making sure that's done, it's on the shelf, we can come back to it when we need it.
And one final question. What is the meaning of Christmas?
What is the meaning of Christmas?
Final question.
The meaning of Christmas depends on each different person. If you're young, it obviously means getting presents from Santa, or if you're old, like myself, it's about spending time with family and, most importantly, having some time off work.